Surprise! Boo! It's a surprise stream. What's happening, party people? I don't normally stream on Fridays, but I just thought I'd hop onto the virtual space real quick because it is like just starting to be May, and I realized, oh yeah, it's about that time. Let's do the monthly news stream. Just while I'm thinking about it, because it's May now, and April was, knock on wood, a more quiet month than usual. And just, I figured, yeah, let's just jump right into it. So, I think we'll go back and forth from my notes of, you know, oh, this wasn't large enough really to find an article about, or this was an ongoing thing that one article wouldn't necessarily do it justice. First thing right off the bat, which not even this really needed to be an article, but Nintendo has maintained the Switch 2 pricing. So back in March, the Switch 2 was announced, and we got all of the pricing, we got all of the, well, we got the pricing from websites, but at that time, a lot of stuff came out about, you know, how much things are going to cost, in terms of, well, we have the Switch 2, we've got the bundle, we've got the games, how much all this is going to cost, and the only thing that I think changed... Did this adapter go up $5? I can't remember, but the long and the short of it is basically, us in the West, we're not sure... What's going on, Arrow? Us in the West, we're not sure what was going on with tariffs. We weren't sure how, certain things in the climate that were changing, how those would affect electronic prices. Because no matter what would happen, yes, it would affect electronics prices. And Nintendo is maintaining these prices, which is... The adapter did go up by $5, that's what I thought. Alright. But all of the primary, like, all of this stuff, I believe... Oh, and the Joy-Con 2s are... Joy-Con 2 pair. These are more expensive than the normal Joy-Cons for the Switch. The base Switch, or the Switch 1, I guess, but... Did that also go up $5 in price? Well, at the very least, this stuff I know for certain did not change at all in price, which is fine. You know, I think the Switch 2 is a little pricier than I would have liked, and I was a naysayer. Joy-Con 2, the Joy-Cons went up $5 as well, that's what I thought. Like, any of these that say, like, $84.99, that to me says, oh, it was originally $79.99, went up $5. These are originally $89.99, went up $5. The Switch 2 camera, $54.99. Highest price increase was the dock. Dock set was at $100 even, and now it's $20 more. And now it's $120. Or did this go up by like $10? Well, I was concerned, or in my head, as a doomsayer, I thought that the Switch 2 was going to go up $50 to $500, and that the bundle would go up to $550. I was expecting, you know, at most, the Switch 2 would start rivaling the PlayStations, which I think the PlayStation 5 Pro also went up in price this month. But yeah, for better or for worse, these are the prices as Nintendo is staying with. So that's just an update on that. Yeah, the PlayStation announced that the PlayStation 5 Pros are going up in price by like $50. All in all, I'd say Nintendo handled it somewhat well. Yeah, and I mean, all of their subsidiaries also make them a ton of money. Like all of the companies that aren't Nintendo that make first-party games for Nintendo. You know, I think they'll be able to make their money back. you know, the Switch 2 is still being sold at a loss. I've talked about this before. I can't think of a single console that's been sold at profit. They get a lot of their stuff back through games, you know, with how much it costs them to make games, selling Mario Kart World at $80. That's what's netting them a profit. No interest in the PS5 Pro, now just, yeah. But the last, to round it out, read something from my notes here, that Xbox announced that by the end of the year, they're raising all of their game prices to $80, as per what Mario Kart World has set in place, with the $80 threshold being broken. So that's all three of the major consoles announcing some kind of price hike, which, based on the current climate, I'm not even necessarily pointing out the greediness of companies in this one. I think it's a reaction to tariffs in the West here. Because, you know, oh, Microsoft is a American-owned company. Why are those prices going up? Those things are still made outside of the US. And even if they were, importing blank discs to print them in the United States. The thing that pisses me off is that these are, Xbox is also pushing towards a digital-only model. Xbox is pushing physical right out the door. I've always been an advocate that the cost of a digital game versus a physical game should not be equal. You know, even if it's $5 to own the physical disc over the digital-only copy, there's still a manufacturing cost and a distribution cost that is no longer being handled with a digital-only storefront. You know, I think that all of these numbers are artificially inflated, and since we don't see a lot of the back end, or we don't see a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff, you know, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, these companies can charge whatever they want. And I do know that, and I fully understand that the people making these games need raises because of the rising cost of just cost of living. Pay your people what they're worth. But also, CEOs don't need another 50% bonus at the end of every fiscal year. Corporate greed, something that ironically is one of the few times where corporate greed isn't as much of a factor. Yeah, I wouldn't totally, and that goes back into we don't totally know. So, you know, I wouldn't say that it isn't totally a factor, but I'm partially attributing this to the current situation with everything else going on. You know, all these prices are nebulous, and they can charge whatever they want for them, but also I understand that some of this can be coming from paying people what they're worth. Or the turnaround for games is so drastically different now. You know, aside from the fact that GTA 5 made all the money in the world, setting that aside, even though that is an enormous amount of money to just be ignoring for the time being, between Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto 6, Rockstar has only released one game in over a decade. It was like the early 2010s, they released Grand Theft Auto 5. The late 2010s, they released it was like 2010, they released Red Dead Redemption 1. 2013, they released Grand Theft Auto 5. 2018, they released Red Dead 2. And now 2025, they're set to release Grand Theft Auto 6. So, the amount of time between these major releases, if Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to cost, you know, an arm and a leg, I'm not going to buy it. But I understand that going from a year-to-year model of releasing different games for different franchises, I understand, you know, how much time and money has been sunk into this to make a profit while paying people what they're worth and all the time that people have put in. I understand. However, I don't think that is nearly enough to give every company full reign to charge $80 for these releases. You know, FIFA 2026 or whatever it's called, Football World Cup 2026, whatever they're called now, should not cost $80. You just released one last year. Good on Rockstar for not trying to release a broken game. Yeah, there's just so much. Honestly, I think they saw what happened to Cyberpunk and how much hype there was around Cyberpunk and how broken Cyberpunk was on release. Cyberpunk 2077 is truly a cautionary tale of don't release a game until it's done. That is like a poster child for crunch culture now. I digress. Yeah, so Nintendo has, in very spotty places, up to the prices, $5 here, $10 there for accessories, but games and base consoles still cost the same. PlayStation has increased the price of the PlayStation 5 Pro by $50, I believe, citation needed. That's the one I believe they increased because they stopped releasing the original PlayStation 5, and now there's just the Slim and the PS5 Pro. I believe, yeah, there's only the Slim and the Pro, and I believe it's the Pro that went up by $50. I'd rather wait May 2026 than have the launch tainted. Yeah. And the last of the hat trick of the three major console companies is Xbox is raising their prices by $80 by the end of the fiscal year, or by the end of year, which I want to say is 2025, not necessarily end of fiscal year. So by the end of 2025. All right. And next article we have EA cancels Titanfall. This was sent by Risen in the Discord server, which, if you have gaming news that you'd like to share, there is a links tab in the Discord server now if you have anything that you'd like me to talk about during these beginning of the month, let's wrap up last month news streams. EA cancels the next Titanfall games amid layoff of more than 300 employees. This is another, and this is just one I wanted to bring along, first of all, because it was readily available in the Discord server. Thank you, Risen. But we've just seen so many layoffs over the last few years. $60 for modern Xbox games is already pushing it. Yeah. Yeah. Like, South of Midnight, I would pay $60 for if I had the $60 to spend, if just to support a unique, original, fresh IP. You know, like, hey, this game looks fun, I want to give it a chance, I would pay full price $60 for this game, if I could afford that. But we're in a recession. We're not doing too well over here. But yeah, this one just struck me particularly hard because, like, Titanfall 1 I thought was such a unique story told through co-op only online shooter, you know. I thought that was very interesting. It had a very fun gameplay, unique selling point is what I'll call it. It had a unique selling point with the Titans. There's not an article about it, but hey, Ken Levine, where's that Mystical Judas release? I'm excited for Judas, I'm not gonna lie. I think Ken Levine is a very interesting games director. He isn't quite leaning into the crazy ramblings of Hideo Kojima. Like, Ken Levine, unfortunately, seems just sane enough to get by, but because he's just sane enough, I feel like his games get pushed by the wayside. It's like the only new Xbox game I've heard remotely interested in lately, and non-Bethesda or Blizzard. Yeah, and like, damn, it sucks that Xbox only has South of Midnight and PlayStation only has Ghost of Yotei, because they realize that chasing the same model over and over again with online-only games... Speaking of which, hey, Titanfall! You have Apex Legends. How about something for the rest of us? How about something for the rest of us? Because Apex Legends is in the Titanfall universe, and it just doesn't have Titans. Titanfall 2 is awesome. If anybody wants a unique solo gameplay experience, for like a unique FPS solo experience, I would 1,000 times over recommend Titanfall 2. So good. But hey, no Titanfall 3, I guess, because Apex Legends. Hang on, did EA cite a reason? Here we go. As part of our continued focus on our long-term strategic priorities, we've made select changes within our organization that more effectively align teams and allocates resources in service of driving future growth. We are treating our people with care and respect throughout this process, working to minimize impact on helping affected employees explore new opportunities within the company when possible and providing us support during the transition. Fuck off, EA. Unfortunately, it's a good idea, so EA has to fuck it up somehow. I feel like people forget that because so many other companies have recently cropped up saying like, "Hey, I'm a piece of shit." People forget that EA was one of the original, like, ooh, you're laying off people to save money. Ooh, you're putting in horrible cash grabby monetization systems. Like, they were some of the first people to really start doing that mid-2010s, late 2010s. But that was, a decade ago. Like, I feel like people forget that. Growth translation. We can't let the stockholders think we might be lowering in value. Exactly. Yeah. Gross. Disgusting. And then something else for my little list here before we move on. Oh yeah, the Oblivion stealth drop. So I didn't bring an article about the Oblivion remastered stealth drop, but for months, it's been an on-again, off-again rumor mill of, oh, Bethesda's working on Oblivion remastered. Bethesda's working on Oblivion remastered. And at first it sounded like copium. There were tons of insiders who were like, no, it's coming, we swear. Throughout March, it was like, no, it's coming, we swear. Throughout April, it was like, it's going to be stealth drop. There's going to be no advertising. They're just going to release it. And a lot of us were like, well, Oblivion Remastered is such like a long-awaited and beloved idea for longtime fans. Me, Oblivion was my first Elder Scrolls game. Where I was like, nah, they wouldn't just stealth drop it. People care was a good idea. I thought it was funny. And, there's been a lot of, I've seen some gameplay of it. I didn't want to see too much gameplay of it, because I want to wait till it's on sale, because I can't afford a full price. As is the way of things, but, like, I don't want to be, like, ruined too much on it, but I saw the tutorial dungeon with, like, the Emperor and stuff, and it looks really good. And then I heard from my friends who have been playing it. I heard from my friend who had never played Oblivion. This game is so great. I love all the systems. He has no idea what was or wasn't changed. And then I heard from my friend who has played Oblivion a bunch. And he was like, well, a lot of the, like, it's basically like a really, really, really good texture pack. They've changed some of the balance issues. Some of the glitches do still exist. Like, the speedruns are still almost the same, with using a glitched door that's a little out of bounds to just teleport to the end of the game. Literally the end of the game, one room away from the final confrontation. Like, all of that is still very much the same. Oh yeah, no. It's just, but they changed some of the balance things from what I understand, but not all the balance issues. Like the world level, the world scales with you and all that stuff, which, people want different levels of difficulty out of their games, so I understand if people are upset about that. But this has given the game new life. This has given Oblivion new life, and, that's awesome. I think Oblivion is a great game, and we've just been so overstuffed with Skyrim for so long. I'm happy to see Oblivion give a new life. And also, Skyblivion is not being shut down. A lot of people thought that with the Oblivion Remastered release, Skyblivion, which is a fan-made project of getting Oblivion completely rebuilt in the Skyrim engine, people thought that that would not come to fruition with the release of Oblivion Remastered. But not only is it still chugging along and kind of has Bethesda's blessing, Bethesda gifted some of the crew on Skyblivion free keys to Oblivion Remastered. And from what I remember, a lot of it, there were some people from Bethesda who were saying, like, hey, there's a difference between, like, a very passionate fan base working on something and working out all those crunchy little details, and a big company doing a remaster. Like, there's a fundamental difference in the love and attention being given, because this was just something Bethesda did on the side while working on other Elder Scrolls 6. Like, here, to tide people over, here's Oblivion Remastered while we work on 6. And then this is a beloved fan base working on a game that they love from the ground up in a, I don't want to say a different engine, but just working on something that they love from the ground up. There's a fundamental difference in those philosophies when it comes to making the same game from different people. So they're still chugging along with Skyblivion. I'm excited to play Oblivion Remastered myself. Maybe once we hit a certain point in Skyrim, Oblivion Remastered can become our fallback game whenever we finish a game on stream. Someday. And then I have another tab here. Oh yeah, this was just I guess I should have done this one first, because this goes back to just the Nintendo pricing for the tariffs. Yeah, this was announced earlier in the month, and now we know that the prices been a busy month. I don't think it's been a particularly busy month. It's just that a handful of things kept getting updated. You know, like, we kept getting, like, play-by-play updates as to how the tariffs would be affecting the Switch 2 launch. We got, I kept getting article after article about, no, we promise Oblivion Remastered is coming, they're just not doing marketing for it. I kept getting swamped by those. But yeah, this was just the original write-up that I found of, that they put the pre-orders on delay. They completely stopped pre-orders in the West while they investigated their options for what to do with pricing given the tariffs. And this is an article originally in Japanese, actually from like December of last year. I'll scroll back to the top. It's a lot of boring PowerPoint presentations, but the reason I brought this along, one of the timelines of all time, yeah. The reason I brought this along is because it was originally brought to the attention of people. Yeah, you can see it's from December 27th of 2024, but it was recently brought to the attention of translators last month. So this news recently made its way to the West in a way that was readily available to a lot of English-speaking audiences. And this is that a lot of companies are going into archive preservation. And the reason why I brought this along is, on the surface, this is really good. This is really good that Square Enix, Capcom, Taito, and Sega are all working on different ways to archive and preserve their legacy. They're working on a lot of different, like, they all have different systems and different names for their catalogs, like, the one in particular I wanted to talk about. Yeah, Square Enix and Taito Gallery. They're setting up museums based on their preservation. What's the catch? Well, so, I don't have confirmation on this, but this is something Patches and I have, actually were just talking about earlier today. So, Capcom has a, does it say what, Capcom Illustrations Archive System. They have an internal catalog for all of their largest franchises. And the catch that I'm finding is that they started archiving in 2018. And now recently they mentioned that they're going to be they have been using AI models for pre-production game elements. What this says to me is that they started preserving their stuff to build AI models. And again, allegedly, I don't have concrete evidence of this, but the timeline tells me they started preserving to build their model so that in the future they don't need to hire new artists, or they can downsize some of their current art teams. I don't know. But I thought about this, and then I wanted to believe in the good of people, so I pushed it out of my head. But literally this morning, Patches texted me like, God damn it, I just put the pieces together about this exact thing. So I don't have any concrete evidence. However, I wouldn't be surprised if this is what they're using their preservation for. So, on the one hand, it's really cool that this is being preserved in general. You know, that these are things that can be request assets by pulling them into the cart. So, it's a system where you can select materials you want to use on the site, give permission to use the materials to the administrator. So, it's a It's an internal and possibly in the future external way for people to get a hold of these assets. Because when they say cart, that tells me you can license the assets out. However, I guess it's better than nothing. It's better than all of these going away. Yeah, no, it's not awesome. That could be a side effect. However, the thing to remember is that legally they own all of these assets already. There is nothing illegal about what they're doing with these assets, so there's nothing to be done about it. There's no course of action an artist can take because Capcom owns all of these assets. So you know what? They're gonna do with their assets what they will. There's nothing we can do to stop them. I'm just gonna look at all of their future releases with heavy scrutiny. I'm going to be asking for receipts. Hey, if you did use AI in this project, where is it? I want to know specifically, did you make whole new assets off of the AI generated ideas? Did you ask an AI model, hey, what would this look like from Capcom? And then ask your artist to produce something similar to that? I don't know. And I don't want to get too angry about it. I don't want to get too messed up about it. Yeah. It sucks, but that's where we're at. And then honestly, I just have one last thing. If anybody has any other news that they'd like to share, submit it to the links channel in the Discord server right now, or may forever hold your peace for the month of April. But the last thing I have is that, and this was just a funny thing to me that we talked about in the Discord server, Last of Us Complete Edition. Complete collection. Yet another re-release of The Last of Us. It includes The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2, the definitive remastered editions, in a whole new bundle. You can buy them at once. And it just so happened to coincide with the release, or the premiere of Season 2 of The Last of Us show, which has been pretty good so far. And then later down the line, they're going to be dropping a physical version of Last of Us Complete, which somewhere along the line will probably, well, no, it's probably going to be a little bit after the finale of Last of Us Season 2. Is the GTA 6 delay? Yeah. And I mean, like, good on them for not wanting to rush things. So I will just say, just at the end of this, because that's really all I had, was that I thought it was funny that once again they're releasing Last of Us Definitive Super Deluxe Edition Complete Bundle. I just thought that was funny. But I have a couple sources that I get my news from, trickle through the, obviously Google, will recommend, just because I'm in this sphere, Google will recommend articles to me, and then I can, compile all of these different things into one place, so I can just rattle off, hey, if you missed it, here's a bunch of stuff going on. Last of Us Deluxe Ultimate Collection Remaster Remake. Y'all, probably. But yeah, I get my news from a few different places, but one of my news outlets is shutting down, which is big Sag. So yeah, I'm gonna probably be prowling for more news elsewhere, and I'm probably gonna be asking y'all for more news. That's partially what the link dump is for in the Discord server. Why are they shutting down? It just wasn't monetarily viable. It's one of those things where they started off working for a larger, kind of more corpo gaming news outlet, and they spun off, or they left and started their own. And just over the years, yeah, it's been 6 years too. They were going really strong, going really well, and then finally they were like, "Hey, there's no more track. We've hit the end of the line." They announced that all their presenters are going off and doing their own things, which is great. All of them have different things lined up, which is awesome. Did the return of Game Informer happen this month or last month? Last month. That was something I did talk about last month. That it was bought up by a private company, and that it will act independently as Game Informer Inc. which is awesome. You know, if they can go back to physical releases, that would be cool. I miss my magazines. I miss you, print media. I miss you so bad, print media. I think about game guides. I think about my PlayStation magazine, of which somewhere in my fucking parents' place, I have like every issue of PlayStation magazine, which only ran for like 3 years. So, you know, like 36 issues of PlayStation magazine. Yeah, it's sad. But yeah, I just wanted to hop online real quick. I didn't really have anything else planned. I didn't really have anything else to play today. I just wanted to hop online real quick and just make sure that we talked about all this stuff before I forgot. Because genuinely, I forgot until somebody in a different Discord server I'm in posted a thing that like, hey, it's May. Like, it was a meme or something. It was like, hey, it's May. And I was like, oh, it's May. Oh, it's May. April's over. Oh, God. But yeah, Switch stuff, some of the Switch 2 accessories are going up in price, PlayStation Pro's going up in price, Oblivion Remastered Stealth Drop, Xbox games are going up in price, Titanfall 3 canceled, and more layoffs. There's just been layoffs all over the place. It's so depressing talking about all these layoffs. Hey Blair, what's going on? We're actually wrapping up. I'm just rattling off all the things that we talked about. Like I said, it's been a very slow month, and I just wanted to talk about this stuff. Yeah, you too, Arrow. I just wanted to talk about all this stuff before, what have I missed? So, real quick, we'll go through the actual, articles. So, there were the tariffs, and we weren't sure what was going on with the Switch 2 pricing because the tariffs, they paused, the pre-orders on the tariff because the tariffs, and then they came back and said, here's all the prices as we are going forward. All the major stuff is the games and the console, all that is staying the same. However, some accessories have gone up like $5 here, $10 there in pricing. EA canceled Titanfall 3 amid more layoffs, which just layoffs across the industry suck. Squeenix, Capcom, Taito, Sega are all doing different preservation things for their companies, and one thing I pointed out is that if you pay attention to the timeline, Capcom's preservation could possibly be them getting a bunch of their assets piled up to create AI generative models for their future projects. We'll have to see. I don't have definitive evidence about this. And then just some things from my little note card here is that Oblivion Remastered real, crazy. GTA 6 delay, crazy. No crunch culture, that's awesome. Xbox is raising their game prices to $80 by the end of the year, and The Last of Us has once again announced a deluxe super collection of their remastered Last of Us games duo pack to coincide with the start of season 2 of The Last of Us show on Max, which has been pretty good. At least that's something so far. Keep in mind, we're not even halfway through the year. We're only in month 5 of 12. So, yeah, that's all I had. If nobody else has any other gaming news to really talk about, yeah, I just wanted to hop online real quick and talk about all the things that happened in April. Even though it wasn't a lot, I think it's still worth compiling all this stuff up into one spot to talk about. Let's get some socials up. Yeah, sorry for such a short stream, literally half an hour. But yeah, this is all I had planned. And that's all I really needed and wanted to talk about. So, oh, I do also have, for people on Twitch, there's also a channel trailer now. It's been a real blank front page for years, but I finally got a channel trailer out. But yeah, that's just what's going on with me. So, yeah, thanks for hanging out for 35 minutes. That's all I had. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks so much for hanging out as well. Be good, be kind, treat people the way you want to be treated. I'll catch you in the next one.